Welcome everybody. We're going to do another recipe video and I want to show you one of my staples. I'm going to show you guys how I make my lentils. Lentils are something, as well as beans, that I eat regularly. I usually only eat stuff like this during dinner. I try not to eat lentils and beans and stuff like that during the morning. So I have soaked these lentils. This is about 2 cups of lentils, you guys, and I soaked them and rinsed them and then I soaked them for about an hour and a half. So I'm going to show you guys this. Before we go on, I just want to tell you kind of what this recipe is and how I use it. I'm going to show you a base recipe, and what I mean by that, you guys, is that this can be modified in a handful of different ways depending on your tastes. So I make my lentils, you guys, with certain spices. I boil them until they're soft, but I save the broth because I like to drink the broth because it's high in minerals. Sometimes I'll even save the broth and eat it with the cooked lentils as kind of a soup. This is really basic. But what I'll also do, you guys, is always try to eat my lentils with sprouts, large amounts of sprouts. I like to eat sprouts with every meal that I eat. And this is radish, you guys, and alfalfa that I've grown. It still has a little bit more developing to do, but I just wanted to show you guys, this is super easy. Sprouts are super easy, and I talk more about how to do this for really cheap on my Patreon page. If you're interested, just check out the links in my description below, or in the description box. This is 100% alfalfa, you guys. Alfalfa sprouts. What is this? This is alfalfa and radish sprouts, and this is a mixture of fenugreek, lentils, and just a handful, about 6 different sprouts, including clover. So what I'll do, you guys, is I'll make a bunch of lentils, and this amount of lentils should last me about 2 to 3 days. And I'll spice it differently every time I make it. Sometimes when I'm done, or as I'm boiling it, if I'm making a soup, I'll put in a couple tablespoons of tahini. You can put in barbecue sauce even if you wanted. Again, this is just a base. You could add Indian style seasonings. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make it with smoked salt, paprika, garlic powder, and that's pretty much it, you guys. This is really easy. I'm trying to give you guys a base that's really affordable. You don't need a lot of vegetables and whatnot. You can add spices, or you could add garlic, you could add onions and all sorts of stuff. But what I like to do is I like to eat the best, healthiest, greens that I can get my hands on. And unfortunately, because we live in a world where a lot of the food is toxic, even the fruits and vegetables from the store, I grow my own sprouts, and I'll eat a giant handful like this of sprouts or more with this meal that I'm going to have tonight. So I cook my sprouts, I let them cool off to a reasonable temperature, and then I will squeeze some lemon juice on there and a little bit of salt, and then I'll just put a handful of sprouts on top, and I'll eat it like that. Sometimes I'll eat it with a little bit of bread. It just depends. So I'm going to show you guys this recipe, but I really recommend getting some sprouts. Learn how to sprout. It's really easy. It's really cheap. Get some alfalfa and start eating sprouts with every meal. It's going to help things digest. You're going to actually absorb more of the nutrition from the lentils because of the high amounts of enzymes in these sprouts. So the key of sprouts, the secret of sprouts, and why they're so beneficial for our health is the enzymes. And the enzymes are basically the living little messengers in these foods. They help with digestion. They're good for the blood. They're great for the entire gastrointestinal system. They're good for the colon and the small intestine, and they have a very beneficial fiber, these sprouts. So without further ado, you guys, I'm spilling. Let's just dump these soaked lentils into my pot, and then I'm going to put about 4 to 6 cups of water in there. 4 cups of water. And we'll probably we'll probably add 2 more cups of water, you guys. Okay, so that was actually just about 3 cups of water. So all in all, that's 7 cups of water to 2 cups of lentils. Now you don't have to add all this liquid, you guys, but I like to because I love the broth. And as the lentils cook, they'll expand and they'll get bigger, and they have a tendency to kind of bulk up. So you won't get as much broth as you currently see, and some of the broth, as it steams, will evaporate. So 2 cups of soaked lentils that were rinsed as well, and soaked, and 7 cups of filtered water. About a tablespoon and a half of smoked applewood sea salt. I'll probably add some more depending on the flavor. 2 teaspoons of organic garlic powder. A generous tablespoon of smoked paprika. cover your solution, you guys, and what I like to do is I turn it on medium heat until it comes to a boil, and then I'll take the lid off and just watch it, because with the amount of water in this pot you have to be careful because it can boil over. So every stove is different. Just be careful and watch it and be responsible and you'll be fine. So once that comes up to a boil, you guys, I'm just gonna boil this until the lentils get soft. Some people like them a little bit chewier, some people like them soft. I personally like them soft, and usually, you know, depending on how long you soaked these lentils for and how hot of water you soaked them in, it can take anywhere from 15 minutes all the way up to 45 minutes. So just watch your lentils, take a test bite every 10 to 15 minutes, and stop cooking them once you reach your desired texture. And while that gets hot, you guys, I think I'm gonna make some potato and some carrot juice. It's been 15 minutes and these lentils are soft, so I'm just going to turn the heat off and probably let it sit for another 5 minutes, and then I'm just going to strain the liquid out into a pot and save the liquid, you guys. You can cook stuff in the liquid, it tastes amazing, or what I do is I'll drink the fluid. Especially now in the colder months, the lentil broth has a lot of minerals in it and it's just good stuff, so save it. And I'll show you guys what this looks like when I eat tonight, how I eat it. Basically just gonna take a bunch of lentils, I'll probably put some oil over them, and then I'll just dress it with sprouts. And that's usually how I eat dinner, you guys. Really simple, really healthy, and really, really cheap.